Second. Here we go. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good, good, good. All right. Well, I hope everybody had a great trading day today. So let me just make sure this is coming through okay. Hey, there we go. Good, awesome. So I hope everybody had a great trading day today. And whoa, what a day today! We had a wild one today for sure. But we were prepared for it. We talked about it last night here, right on this show. Basically, kind of went over these possibilities that could happen, and this was just one of them that could have happened. And we gapped down, and it was amazing, right? So anyway, guys, we'll continue. I kind of want to just kind of really just talk about it a little bit more today about SPX. We'll see if anything sets up for us tomorrow, but let's continue going. See which way will we go on SPX, right? So before we get started, though, everything we're going to talk about is for educational purposes only and not investment advice. So please take a moment to review this disclaimer. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good, good, good. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look and see where we left off the market here today. Then we're going to take a look at the futures and see what's setting up going in tomorrow. If we're up or down or which way we're going, and what's setting up tonight and going into tomorrow. And then we'll take a look at the topic, and then we'll go through questions and chart requests. So let's get started. All right, so what a day today, guys. SPX, right? We were turning into like this hammer, hanging man type candle as we finish up this month, right? And as we finish up this quarter too, right? Now there's only 2 trading days left in the month, and we did have a lower shadow right here, but now it looks like we may possibly close as a bearish engulfing candle, and that could be pretty interesting, right, for the SPX, especially at these highs, right? So pretty cool stuff there. From there, we look at the weekly chart, still an inside week, kind of back to the mid Bollinger Band off of that big hammer candle, and what a drop here today. Goodness gracious, guys. One of the biggest red candles we've seen, I think, in all of these ranges right here. I mean, in terms of just full body candle right there, 73 points. This one was 97, but again, in terms of the actual real body, right, it wasn't that big. So this is one of the biggest real bodies we've seen in a while. And we talked about it last night, guys. Which way will we go? And why was it so important that we spoke about it last night? Because of this double inside day, right? So what we wanted to know is, based on today's price action, whether or not this double inside day would, kind of pop its way to the upside. Was it building energy to break through the downward trend line? And that is a big point, right, that we need to kind of hammer on, right, is that we are in a downtrend, right? So if everybody, the folks are shocked, like, about, things being red today, and it's a red day, and, bearish and all that stuff. Guys, we are in a downtrend, right? Until we can get above that, right? We did a whole series on it last week of, how we got in the downtrend, what it means to be a downtrend, what are some, aspects of it, things like that. And so we can't be surprised when we see this, right? And so that's why we talked about it last night and, try to get everybody as prepared as possible. So anyway, so in a downtrend, right? And so what happened this morning, and this was great, right? When I woke up this morning and, getting ready to do the bubble report in the morning and, get everything out for our group, and I saw that we were gapping down like 30, 40 points this morning on the futures. We were pushing down like 34. I was like, oh my God, this is awesome, right? Because if that gap were to hold, which it did, right, that's a gap below the double inside day range, right? So we end up just basically gap below the 50-day, gap below the 80 MA, right? And that's a very bearish situation, right? When you gap above or below an inside day, it's usually get some follow through the upside, or you get a quick reversal back in, right? So you be careful about it. So it has to hold. And today when I saw that and we held, I was like, oh, this is gonna be a bearish day today. And guys, I know everybody's been like kind of going over it and like, hey, why are you still harping on this this Elliott wave count, right? It was because it was still valid, right? I mean, there was bullish counts. We talked about it last night, right? So here's the wave count from yesterday, right? So we had this 1, 2, right? This couldn't be 3, 4, right? Otherwise, it's overlapping. I mean, it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's just a larger leading diagonal, but it doesn't look. It would be like an expanding diagonal or something. It's a little bit too complex, right? So, because this works fine, right? So this is a 1, 2, 1, 2, right? And then we kind of had this 1, 2, 1, 2 in here, and when we gapped down this morning, I was like, oh, that implies a wave 3. Right? Because the other thing we were looking at here is that we talked about last night. Instead of an ABC, this could have been a 1, 2, 3, 4 triangle. Remember that 4 triangle and then wave 5, and we definitely didn't get that. And when we gapped down, so that's your wave 3 action, and that is exactly what we were looking for. And so we jumped in this really quickly this morning. A lot of good short opportunities on this. Very, very heavy on the market, and the beauty of it is because yesterday, right, we had some bearish action, and but we had so many divergences, right? The banks were strong, the IWM was strong yesterday, right? But today things started to come into alignment, right? The Dow got red, right? The IWM broke its its levels that we pointed out in the bubble report this morning, and the XLF started working its way down. So semis were weak, right? So I mean, we got and Apple was pulled back. So all these Apple tried this morning, tried to go on its own, and then pulled back too. So all these things started to weigh on them, and it was just like, okay, let's go, right? So it's a really nice move there. Anyway, pretty excited about that. So we'll take a look at this here in a little bit. But anyway, let's stay with the futures and see what we're up to now to this evening, and kind of go from there. So futures up about 3 points right now. There's a couple things that could be happening, right? Obviously, the big thing we want to track going into tonight is this, right? So we got this geometric line right here. If we get above there, that could be constructive, right, for the bulls. And then we got this geo line up here, which also is a little bit farther away, but that can be constructive too. It's a little bit. I gotta get that in the morning, I think. There we go. So anyway, in the meantime, we'll check that later. So where are we at down here? Well, we got a couple other levels down here. We got this. Right, we kind of have this level right here, so that's going to be important. And we have this nice drop right here, so this could be a little bit of a bear flag, right, or a little bit of a rising wedge here going to this. We just broke down below here, right? So really the big geometric levels, we want to see how this holds right here, and of course the lows of the day from today, and see what happens, right? So that's kind of going to be kind of the main geometric levels that we'd be tracking going into tonight. But anyway, guys, good stuff. So what a day today. We kind of covered a lot of it already, but the real thing is here this week we've been covering out which way will we go, and we're continue to talk about SPX here today. And we just went through the Elliott wave count. So the real thing is which way will we go now, right? So that's really kind of the big thing. Well, tricky call, right? It's hard to really say, right? In general, do we want to put the most of the internals that we look at the end of the day, right, with the sectors, right, we looked at the semis were weak, right, transport's weak, right, and we look at that, and then we noticed that today was a big down move right here with increased volume. A lot of good, even individual names were pretty weak as well, but it was a big day. Right, it was a big real body day. So does that mean that we're going to gap down tomorrow and just flush? Maybe. It's a possibility. Do we want to be like fully super duper bearish? No, because the market never necessarily moves in a straight line, right? And so one of the big things that we noticed is that we saw, right? So like with the Corona crash, for instance, right, we'd have a big down move, right, and then the next day we'd have a big up move, and then the next day we'd have a big down move, and then the next day we'd have this crazy up move, right? So it is possible that tomorrow we might just kind of take a little bit of a breather, right? So we might get a little bit of a gap up here. I mean, the futures are up a little bit here, but we might be up like 7-10 points or something like that, and then kind of see where we go from there. And that might just kind of give us a little bit of a positive cool down and see if this thing's ready for more downside, right? So it's definitely something to keep an eye on too. The other thing we want to look at as well is the wave count right here, right? So if this was right, and it looks like nicely 1, 2, 3, right? One of the things we'd look at here is this wave 4, right? Well, one possibility that we might see here is that we hit the this was from this move down. Right, we moved here from the top of this level right here to this level right here. So I was expecting the retrace today to go to 382. We were tracking this move at the end of the day. We're like, oh, here comes another big V reversal, right? And it got up a little bit. Then it really kind of flushed there at the end of the day too. So it's possible, right, that this is this may work its way up here. That could be an A. This little down move right here might be a B, and we might see a wave C up to the 382. That's at about like 43.95 ish, right? And that might finish this wave, right? And then we'll see the sub wave 5 down. Right, so that's a possibility too, and that would give us our chop day, right? Because we kind of go down a little bit, we work our way up, we kind of do our thing, right? So we just kind of need to keep an eye on that and see how it goes. See if it kind of finishes that move right there, and then gives us a fresh impulsive wave down after that. So that could give us a little bit of a pause day, kind of cool things down. Maybe the bulls being like, okay, kind of calm it down, and then flush them out, and then we'll see where we go from there. Right, so this is kind of the big things that we're looking at, and again, we've got a couple levels too of interest here on the SPX, right? So we're still holding this this recent low. I was kind of hoping we'd close below there. We're still holding that, right? So that could be support, but if we lose that, then we got the cloud bottom right here, right? That's an interesting level, and then we got this level right here, right? There's a couple big levels as well, and then of course, if we really lose that and things get crazy, right? We've got these levels down here, and then eventually, ultimately, the 200-day moving average, right? So we'll kind of keep it one level at a time and see how it goes. Right now, we're holding this, so a little bit of a rebound, and then maybe a little inside day or a pause day, something like that. Wouldn't surprise me at all. So we'll see how that happens and how it plays out tomorrow. Anyway, guys, good stuff. Hopefully you found that helpful. At this point now, if anybody's got any questions or chart requests, please feel free to plug those in the chat window, and we'll try to get through as many as we can, try to wrap as early as possible so we can all get a good night's sleep and have another awesome trading day tomorrow. So great stuff. So options rock sent a few in via Twitter here. So let's take a look at those and see how they're going. So I know they've had these on the radar for a while. So ICPT a little bit pullback, but not huge with the big pullback in the market. So that's kind of good, right? That today's kind of one of those kind of days where you look for what names that were green, right? You know that kind of held up in all the mess, right? And then see if they get any follow through tomorrow. Tree with a big downside move, guys. We've been talking about this one for a while. How it's just been riding under this ADMA, and then are we at all surprised when you have a big down day that this thing got to move? No, right? Because it's been downtrending, right? So that's one of the things we look at there. Trip. Same thing with this, like the stock market. Are we surprised that we had a big down move in the stock market today? No, we're in a downtrend, right? So anyway, it's pretty soon move there. Trip again with the big shooting star candle yesterday, shot right back down to the ADMA. So see how that holds. The JYNT, the joint. Again, under the 80 area here, but still could be in that flag pattern, but definitely want to see some bullish price action to see if this thing can get going. And then DKNG, again, this thing's been rough right here. We talked about these levels. We broke down below here again. If this thing keeps going, right, honestly, down here is kind of like the next big level if it loses the cloud. So we'll see how that goes there. But good stuff. And Shirley sent a few in via email. Thanks, Options Rock Girl. Shirley sent a few in via email. Shirley, we're doing great out there. Let's take a look and see what we got. So NVAX, woo! Big follow through off of yesterday's nasty candle once we lost 50-day moving average slice through the cloud. So a good move on that one. PLTR, nasty, right? So we had this beautiful cup handle breakout. And you guys pointed out here, I love this setup, right? So beautiful move right here. We pull back to it. We bounce back off of it. Resistance, no follow through. Inside day, red day under the ADMA, and then see ya on a bearish day. Right, so not really too surprising at all. So good stuff there. Fubo, let's take a look. Fubo, nasty, right? So big breakdown right here. We talked about this. We talked about this geometric line. We talked about this could be a bear pennant. We stayed below the ADMA. Today, breakdown below this level right here and saw some nice follow through the downside. Riot, let's take a look here. Yeah, Riot, guys, Bitcoin looking rough, so Riot looking rough, right? So we've got that going on, and we'll see how that goes. SPCE, under the ADMA here with increased volume. Again, it's still holding on to a couple levels right here. Right, so it's not quite getting crushed yet, but after that, right, you've got an open gap right here. Right, so look for that 21 kind of 50-ish level, and then you got another open gap down here. Right, so a couple big levels to kind of keep an eye on here for space, which, by the way, doesn't make any money. Okay, cool. So good stuff there. Anke, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you're doing great. Yeah, I hope you had a good day today. J Moss, what's going on? RSI, let's take a look. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, RSI hung in there. It stayed green today. Right, lots of upper shadows, but it could be doing kind of like a little bit of flag pattern. It did one back here and gave a nice move. So let's see if it repeats itself. That would be nice. And then CCJ, let's take a look. A little uranium action, right? So let's take a look here. Let's look at our trend line. Right, so trend line here, breakdown right here, increased volume, and still just kind of doing its little kind of bearish thing, right, under the ADMA. So I guess I would kind of look and just see how it handles this, right? So that could be like a little bit of a flag here, and then if it stays in that range, and then it breaks down again, right? You got a couple open gaps below the 50-day moving average below, which could be interesting. So let's keep an eye on those. And all right, yeah, let's take a look. So we got Amazon on the radar. So Amazon, guys, we talked about these levels, how important they were. Once we lost this level right here, big push down here today, one of the weaker names this morning too, and then right to the 2-day moving average, you see it put a lower shadow off of it. So let's see if that holds as a little bit of support, right? If the market is strong tomorrow, maybe Amazon gets a bounce. Facebook, very bearish on this name right now. You can see this, very clear flag pattern right here, or a rising wedge, if you want to do it, right? Big breakdown today, increasing volume. It's got room to get, to 335, possibly 330, possibly the 200-day moving average. I'm not going to say it's going to do it overnight, right? It might do a little something like this, and then go, right? Speaking of which, notice how this green candle back to the ADMA. Look at the decreased volume on that one. Isn't that cool? So good stuff there. We've done a few shows on that. And then Tesla. Let's see Tesla right here again. Geometric breakout the other day. A little bit of follow through yesterday. And today, blah. Right? And also kind of choppy today. But it is holding the ADMA on that one. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on there too. And Baba with some relative strength today, right? This is one of Paul's favorite ones from the from Sunday's show. Outside day yesterday, right? It's kind of almost a bullish engulfing candle on that one, and Doji sitting right on the 88 So we need to see how that goes going into tomorrow, how China names decide to gap tomorrow. So good stuff there. Oh, Science, what's going on? Good to see you. Long time no see. I hope you're doing great. Let's take a look at CRWD. So CRWD, yeah, nasty breakdown here too. I think we talked about this one this weekend as well. And Paul kind of had this on the bearish radar too, and we did get a nice little breakdown right here today. And let's see if we get some follow through. We got a little gap below right here. Got a little level right here. We got a little 200-day moving average right here. So it's pretty cool stuff there on CRWD. AVLR, let's take a look. Nasty breakdown, right? Big level right here that it lost. right? And then a huge move to the downside with increased volume. So again, below the 50-day moving average. A little bit of room to fill the gap right here. If it loses that, a cloud test might be in the works. So we'll see how that goes. Facebook, we looked at again. I'm pretty bearish in this name overall. So let's see how that holds up. ANET, let's take a look. ANET with a nasty breakdown on this one here too, guys. Look at that beautiful geometric breakdown right here. Good volume on it, right? You can even look at that as like kind of like a triangle breakdown, right? So, so with this one right here, we've got a little bit of a level right here below it if it holds kind of a closing gap, and then after that, you know, maybe it wants to test that 335 area. So we'll see how that goes. Okta, let's take a look. Okta just broke down today too. Volume wasn't there, but it had a nasty candle yesterday, so it did get some good follow through off of that one. And then the UNH, let's take a look. UNH, woo, big gap down, gap and go to the downside here today off of these levels. So yeah, very, very interesting stuff there on UNH. I love it. Good stuff. One south side, what's going on? Good to see you. Put it down, put city. There you go. Black usually goes all the way. There you go. Yeah. So we'll see how it goes. Bullish bearish trades. Let's take a look at Snap and see how it's going. Snap with a nasty pullback here today, guys. Snap back today, right? Nice geometric breakout recently. Doji sandwich up. That was your trade. That was your candlestick setup. Inside day down, gap down today under the inside day, just like the market, and then push below the ADMA for some nice downside action to get to the 50-day moving average, right? So cool stuff there. Tesla. Let's take a look at this one. Yep, nice breakout right here. Two candle day, and then like we looked at a little bit earlier, kind of just pulled back here today with the rest of the market, and then Amazon again breakdown there, but held the 200-day moving average too. Needing something to the crash is probably not a good strategy. And Sunny, stay on SPY. There you go. Mr. World, all I care about is it runs the whole show. There you go. Cheetos, Frios, Rios. What's up going on? Thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And then Forrest, good to see you. Thanks for tuning in as well. And then Excedrin stocks giving you a headache. And Shane, LOL. And then Otas, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. All right, so we've got Netflix for you today. Nice. Everyone, I hope you had a good trading day today too. Again, it's a fun one today. Like I said, we were prepared for it. We discussed it last night, right? So a bit of a declining triangle, right? So let's just see how it holds these levels right here. Again, big upper shadow today. Again, if we can get below these levels right here, Netflix might actually start to get going. So nice stuff there. And then Caterpillar. Again, big move yesterday, right? Decent move yesterday, and actually kind of held up okay today with an inside day and closed green, right? So looking for some infrastructure bill, maybe some debt ceiling getting raised, and see if this one can hold, and then maybe take the inside day up if the market is strong tomorrow. So good stuff there. And then Okta, look at the weekly with a symmetrical triangle. Okay, yeah. I mean, Okta is not a name I trade, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely a big tight range. So what that means is that, if you're trading off the weekly chart, you kind of got you're in the chop zone, right? So cool stuff there. Well, good, guys. Awesome. I really appreciate everybody for tuning in this evening. I appreciate the requests, and I hope everybody has a wonderful evening tonight. We'll see you guys here on YouTube bright and early tomorrow morning for the Good Morning Market Prep video. And until then, guys, stay healthy out there, and remember your risk first and stay safe.